Hi folks, my name is Jared Kaufman. I'm one of the assistant caption heads for the visual caption over here at Genesis Drum and Bugle Corps. Today what we're going to be looking at Carriage as it concerns our new and our returning members. There are some changes that we want you guys to be aware of. That way when you show up to camp, you'll have the best possible head start going into both the horn block and also the visual block. So this is going to serve as kind of a primer to give you guys an idea of what we're going to be doing this year. Tyler-Moppin, who is one of our longtime vets, is going to be assisting me and kind of showing you guys what's new, what's different, and how it's going to work. Here we go. Alright guys, so we're going to get started with the horns down position. We call this set, carry, and we also refer to this as covers at certain times throughout the year, so be aware that those terms are used interchangeably. What you're looking at right now is Nick giving you an absolutely awesome example of what we're looking for. When we talk about any visual position, it always comes back to posture. Nick is showing you a lot of the elements of posture that we're looking for this year. We're looking for the weight being out of the hips, being tall, being lifted, making sure that chest is up and forward, and making sure that we have a really, really big, tall presence. So now that we've looked at his posture, let's look at how his hands are holding that horn. We call this covers here at Genesis. That basically means that the left hand is covering the right hand. That gives us the word covers. So what we're looking for right now is a couple things. If you notice Nick's hands, his right hand is controlling the horn, and both of his hands are flat. The advantage of using covers is giving us this big flat front all the way down the hand through the elbow. So if you were to walk up against a wall, it would all be flat and it would all contact the wall at the same time. This is a huge visual presence. It gives us a really uniform look player to player, and it's important that we strive to make sure we have this big flat front. Let's look at Nick's hands specifically. You'll notice that his right hand, the pinky is all the way into the pinky ring. All of his valves are depressed, and his left hand is hooked behind that lead pipe. You're also going to notice that his left hand, the one that's on top, has all of its fingers together. There are no fingers apart. All of his fingers are together, and that left thumb is going to hook behind the bell section. This gives us that flat front look that we're going for, okay? Also, take a look real quick at his pinkies. You'll notice that his pinkies are parallel to the ground. We don't want any kind of angle in relation to the ground. We want flat pinkies, so they're parallel to the ground. It gives us this really nice flat look to our covers. The other thing I want you to take note of is the fact that his right hand is controlling the horn right now. The left hand is really just there to provide a little bit of extra stability, and quite honestly, it just makes it look much, much better when the left hand is doing what he's doing right here. The right hand is controlling the instrument at all times unless the horn is up, and we're going to talk about that in just a little bit when we get to horn manuals. He's doing this with the right hand through what we call the pinch. As Nick is probably trying to show you right now, the thumb of that right hand and your index finger of your right hand are pinching around that lead pipe. And that gives us the control between the pinky ring and that pinch. That gives us the control with the right hand to move the horn and to hold the horn in a steady or stable way. The last thing I really want you to take a look at is his elbows. Notice that Nick isn't closing in his elbows to create a very, very small space. It's much, much bigger. He has those elbows out away from the body. We have a much big, open presence to provide the audience. This is very, very important. We never want to look small. It's always about taking up as much space as you possibly can. So moving on, the next thing that Nick is going to show you is what our horns up position looks like. There's a couple points that I want you to keep in mind. I'm going to point those out to you, and Nick's going to show those to you guys as we go on. First thing I want you to take a look at his right hand. His right hand is going to be parallel to the ground. It's going to be higher than you think it needs to be, and there is a break in the wrist to get that hand over the valves. We do this for a couple reasons. The first is it just makes us look big. Again, looking big is probably the primary thing we're looking for right now. So his right hand is parallel to the ground. You're going to hear us say flat right hands a lot. That's what this is referring to. Second thing I want you to take note of is his left hand. His left hand is in a 3 on top, 1 on bottom configuration, and only his fingertips are touching the horn. This is going to be true for all of our sections with the exception of contra. The only thing holding the instrument is your fingertips. Okay, this provides space in between your hands and the horn, and again, we're taking up more space. This is going to be an emphasis throughout the year. Next thing I want you to take a look of, and this is going to be a change for some of our vets, our horn is going to be at a flat angle this year. There's a lot of ambiguity with what 10 degrees or 4 degrees or 15.5 degrees. What we're looking at is a flat angle. I want you to make sure that you're measuring this from the lead pipe of your instrument. If you're not sure what a lead pipe is, that's where the mouthpiece plugs into the instrument. That pipe is your lead pipe. So we want that lead pipe to be parallel with the ground unless otherwise defined. The last thing that I want you to take a look at is Nick's elbows. So as Nick is holding this horn with fingertips big, open, taking up space, look at how wide his elbows are. We never want those elbows to come into the body. Just like when our horns are down, we want to take up as much physical space and visual space as humanly possible. This is just part of the performance quality that we're looking for, and if you look at Nick, he's giving you a great example of why we want to do this. His elbows are out away from the body, it allows his hands to hold the instrument in the correct manner, and it gives us a look where we're performing up and out with the chest, with the horn, and we're getting a great visual image to our audience. Alright folks, the last thing that Nick and I are going to give you guys is a look into how we do horn manuals and horn moves here at Genesis Drum and Bugle Corps. There's two things I want you to keep in mind as we go through this process. The first one is we always want to move in the line of least resistance. This means that all that should be moving is the right wrist. It's just a rotation. We don't need to have the horn moving away or coming closer to the body to achieve this. So that right wrist should just rotate and the mouthpiece should rest firmly on the chops without you having to move anything. This is going to take some experimentation on your part to figure out where that setup is for you, but this is a very, very important definition to what we do here. The second thing that we need you to look at is to make sure that the right hand is the only hand in control of the horn as we perform these horn manuals. The left hand is usually in motion to get to one of its two positions, either with the horns up or the horns down. The right hand is the one moving as that left hand is moving into that next position. So make sure the right hand is always in control. Alright, so what Nick is showing you is we have what we call a 2-count horn move. And just like in brass block or just like in music, when we have a half note, it's not really 2 beats. We don't release on beat 2 for a half note. We actually release on beat 3 to get that full second beat. The same thing happens in the visual block. We actually have a visual release on count 3, even though it's a 2-count horn move. So what Nick is showing you is our horns up. And our horns up verbiage this year goes like this. We have up, lock, and pop. Up just means the motion starts. That's our initiation of the horn coming up. Lock is when we are at our flat position. The right hand is still depressing the valves, and the left hand is taking control of the horn. What pop signifies as we're coming up is our right hand actually popping off and going to a playing position. This pop as the horn is coming up signifies that the left hand has control of the horn, and the right hand is now the musician. It's free to manipulate the valves as the music requires. This will be an audible motion, so make sure that we are getting this in time, because that audible cue will let us know if it's happening together or not. It's a very impressive thing when we do it together. Up, lock, pop. So just like coming up, we do have the same 2-count move with a 3rd count release coming down. The verbiage for this is a little bit different. The verbiage for coming down is pop, down, lock. What this means is on the first count, pop coming down refers to the right hand slamming the valves down and getting into that flat position. Okay, on pop, the right hand is taking control back. On down, the horn moves to its next position. And on lock, the left hand comes back around to create our flat covers position. Again, coming up, we have up, lock, pop. Coming down, we have pop, down, lock. Pop, down, lock. So, thank you guys so much for coming with us and taking a look at what we're doing here. Both vets and rookies alike, we invite you, if there are any bits of confusion, if there's anything that you're not sure about or would like some clarification, please do not hesitate to contact us. We are all on the visual page, and the visual staff is excited to get started and working with you guys. We spent a lot of time this off season preparing this program for you, and we're very, very excited to be working with you this season. Please do not hesitate to use our visual page as a place where if you are needing some feedback or if you would like to get some one-on-one, to post a video on there, to send them to us individually, to use that as a way to connect with us to make sure you're doing what you need to be doing and making sure that you can get as much prepared before camp as possible. Okay, this is going to help you guys in the long run. It's also going to give you guys a chance to get feedback before you ever get to camp, which is a really cool thing that Genesis is offering. So please do not hesitate to take advantage of that resource. We're all happy to help you, and we're looking forward to it. Thank you so much. Thank you to Nick for helping us out, and we'll see you guys soon.